Welcome to the Starting Over podcast training series. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and in this section we're going to be looking at Shape Change. Shape Change is a very interesting power because it adds something quite odd to the damage slot. It allows a defensive option in the damage slot that can allow for even more survivability than really that's normally possible. So let's really look at Shape Change. Shape Change. When this character is chosen as the target of an attack, you may roll a d6. On a result of 5 or 6, the attacker can't target this character with an attack this turn, and the attacker may choose another target character instead. The attacker then makes the attack unless there are no targets, in which case the action resolves without an attack. Okay, so the cool thing about Shape Change is by having Shape Change, you're able to set up a situation where the possibility of your opponent missing you, or let me phrase that, not being able to target you, is ridiculously strong. Now, even more so in a situation where the opponent is a charge figure, less so with range, but we'll get to that in a moment. Being able to roll a 5 or 6 means that on top of any other defensive ability that you have, you are able to just avoid damage. You don't even have to worry about your opponent attacking because it's not possible. Thus making the Shape Change figure probably one of the most hated figures in HeroClix, just for the pure fact that once you see Shape Change, everything else on the dial almost doesn't matter. You have to get past Shape Change. Alright, so what's the best powers that we can combine with Shape Change? In all honesty, the best things that we want to combine with Shape Change is just other things that help us to avoid taking damage or avoid being targeted. So I recommend the following. Super Senses. Shape Change and Super Senses, one of the most annoying combos in the game. Scroll Team ability. Having another chance of not being targeted by an attack is awesome. Okay, add in Impervious. Impervious, even though it's damage reduction, it does allow you to, shrug off some damage. Having combat reflexes or energy shield deflection also could be useful in some circumstances to also have. All right, but mainly if you have a trait or some other ability that gives you probability control, the damage is not going to really hit you. The grand trifecta is probability control, Shape Change, Super Senses. And if you can add in the last bit of Scroll Team ability, you are golden. Okay, so when you combine all those elements together, you can really create some very survivable situations. The next thing about Shape Change that we really want to think about is placement. Whether we're using Shape Change with a range figure, a melee figure, a support figure, whatever that may be, the biggest thing that we're looking at is we're trying to discourage our opponent from attacking this figure. So we can put a little bit more weight or put a couple more eggs into the basket that has Shape Change. But we have to make sure that our opponent, when they gun for that figure with Shape Change, that they're going to have to succeed in doing whatever they plan to do. If not, they're going to be in a world of hurt because the rest of your team is going to do whatever your team does to them. So our Shape Change is something that is not necessarily reactive. We can use it in a psychological fashion to deter our opponent from targeting a specific figure. At the same time, we can just take a step back knowing that Shape Change will allow us to maneuver and operate that figure with a lot more flexibility and freedom than any other figure on the board. All right, so how are we going to practice with this figure? With this power? Simple. We're going to put 2 Shape Change figures on the board. One, if you can get one with Defend or a good defending TA or something that's useful for support, do that. And the other I want you to use as a tie-up piece. Now you can do a melee piece, even though I don't really recommend it at this stage because we're just trying to get used to it. But if you feel that that's where you want to go ahead. But I really want you to try to use a support piece and a tie-up piece, and then see how your game goes. Okay, just play a simple 400-point game because you should be able to fit both elements in that. And in the end, write down what happened. If the game went south, write down why did the game go south. Did you miss your shape change? Did your opponent have pulse wave? Were you poisoned? What really made shape change not work out for you? Then do that same game again and try again and see what happens. Okay? All right, that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video.